Oh my god, it's great to be back. Yeah. Anyway, don't like that. Go fuck yourself, right? I'm pissed off. I had not a shit day, but people be getting on my titties all day. People getting on my man titties. Anyway, welcome to my movie review on another fucking franchise. Yeah, I'm starting another franchise, but there's not many. So I will finish my other franchises. So be fucking patient, you fuckers. Anyway, sorry, I gotta calm down. Okay, welcome to my movie review on Mad Max, the original, made in the year of 1979, directed by George Miller, starring Mel Gibson. And it's in this box set. Oh, I've got the fart in there, lads. Oh, you want to smell it? You want to smell it now? You're dying to smell it. Anyway, here's the front, the spine, the back of the box set. And for anyone who said, "Oh, I don't really get why people do that in videos," fuck you, dude. Eat my ass. Anyway, right. I gotta calm down. So we're gonna talk about the original Mad Max, the first one, the classic. Front, spine, back, and the inside. Okay. So, basically, what the plot of Mad Max is. You got this guy by the name of Max, and he's a family man. He's married to his wife. Obviously, he has a kid. His wife plays the fucking little trumpet thingy. And he is a cop. He works in Australia, in the outbacks of Australia. He's a cop, likes to stop bad guys, likes cars, likes this big ass fucking car that he wants to take on a ride. And essentially, there's a bunch of these fucking evil motherfuckers going around fucking causing havoc, driving, hurting people, killing people. These two cops at the beginning are after each other on this fucking amazing fucking car chase sequence. And essentially Mel Gibson's called in and stuff. And I believe the guy is called the Toe Cutter. I'm trying to think, is that the villain, the main villain, or is that the guy at the beginning? But anyway, I think it's the main villain. But anyway, essentially during that car chase, they end up fucking crashing into a truck, blowing up, dying, and pretty much that causes the other gang members to be pissed off, and they come to town, they bring the coffin of the guy with them, and they start just wreaking havoc and causing problems. And basically Max and his cop crew have to try and figure out what's going on and what they're doing. So they end up going after this couple. They end up causing havoc in the town, going after this couple, breaking their fucking car. I believe they kill the boyfriend. I think they rape the woman off screen. We don't actually see her get raped. It's just kind of implied. And Max and his best friend Goose go and investigate this. So as this is going on, things are getting more and more dangerous. The villains are kind of plotting against what they're going to do. There's a crazy guy that they bring in, and they learn more about what's happening. They tell Max what's happening and stuff like that. My toe fucking hurts like shit. Maybe the toe cutter got to cut it off. So yeah, and the bad guys do a lot of other weird shit. Like at the start of the movie, a car crash causes one of the cops to end up getting a fucking glass in his throat, causing him to have a voice box. And essentially, they're just causing havoc, wreaking havoc, causing trouble, and they have to try and stop them. And one has them as a prisoner. And then you get this scene where, Goose is kind of getting fucking pissed off at all of this shit. And he ends up getting murdered in a really graphic and gruesome way. Gets burnt alive. And it fucks with Max's head, and he's upset, and he goes to his wife Jess and all that stuff. And Max tries to quit multiple times, and then eventually he does end up quitting. because he feels like the job is too much, but the police captain doesn't want him to quit. But he quits. He goes on a holiday with his wife and his child. They get ice cream. They do all this crazy shit. That you get all these nice scenes with him and his girl. Him and his girl. Anyway, and just when he thinks he's safe, these motherfuckers end up going and following him and his wife, and try and stalk his wife, try and annoy her. But then they get away for a while. Then this old woman protects them, and eventually, the guys end up finding the wife trying to hurt them. The old lady kind of stops them. Then eventually they drive away. The car goes out of fucking gas, and then these fucking scumbags end up killing the wife and kid. And then it's kind of crazy because this is like nearly an hour 20 minutes in, and then the last 20 minutes to half hour is Max going out and seeking vengeance and getting revenge on all of these motherfuckers that fucked him over. And that's how he basically becomes Mad Max. And then that's also the start of what would happen in the rest of the movies, the post-apocalypse. But this one is not really post-apocalyptic. It's more what led to it, which I find interesting. That's what I find interesting about this first movie. As the second and third film and the fourth one, which I also have, are about the post-apocalypse, kind of the aftermath, So that is the plot of the first Mad Max film. So what do I think of it? I fucking love this movie. This movie, in my opinion, is such a great drama film. It is an action movie, but it's more of a crime drama. It's a family drama. Not family drama. It's a drama, a character study in a way about Max, what leads to him becoming, so, pissed off and stuff. And that's pretty much because, he loses everything. And you feel for his character. And Mel Gibson does it so well, going from a guy that's pretty normal and happy to a guy that's just lost everything and almost emotionless and just pissed off and upset, and depressed. And he plays that role so fucking well. This is one of his earliest movies. Like, this is an Australian film that's become really well known. It wasn't that well known in the US, but apparently when this was released, it was dubbed, which I only watched the Australian dub. I didn't watch that fucking piece of shit American one, because Australian accents are not hard to understand. Even American people have said that. Hello, mate. How you going on? Like, seriously. They're not fucking hard to understand. But this movie, it's just amazing. It's fucking amazing from start to finish. Let's start off with some of my favourite scenes. The way this movie opens up, first of all, is brilliant. It's such a brilliant fucking opening into this world. You get a nice shot of Australia. It's like a couple of years ago. There's kind of like nice shots of the sky, and it's dark and it's dull or whatever. It's sunny. Yesterday my life was filled with rain. Anyway, so we have that, and you got this couple about to have sex. They're fully naked. They're about to have sex, poop my hands, yes. Sorry, I had to do that. And essentially the guy's like, "Oh, you got to have it in, mate?" He's like, "Oh, I got it." And he's there laughing like, haha, got a shotgun and all that. And then you have these other two fuckers driving like, yeah, crazy motherfuckers. And like, right, we got it. We got to get in there. There's a guy coming. So they get in the car, like, let's go. Yeah, and then they drive. And it's like a yellow fucking police car, and they're driving. And then there's this guy going, oh, yeah. And he's there with his girl, like, yeah, we're the fucking guy, man, yeah. And they're like, yeah. And it's just like, and then, like, oh, we gotta get it. You want to get this? Yeah. And then you get this just fucking, I would say 10 to 20 minutes, badass fucking chase sequence. Just this fucking badass. They're like, or as a tour team, it's like the first 10 minutes, like oh shit, now, and there's just amazing uses of practical effects. It's like shit's getting fucked up and it's driving and like shit now, for fuck's sake, and there's people going driving, and then just people driving the camper on like, oh no, what's going on and all that, and like now, and then the car just goes fucking smashing through it. I think it smashes into a truck and drives and it hits it and the car smashes, and then I think there's a car that goes through the truck, and it's just like this really great practical effect. And then there's a baby on the road, and they're like, watch out! And it crashes, and then fucking. No, the guy's going driving like, I'm gonna get it, and then they're like, nah, and they pick it up, and then. And then it goes on for a while, like, oh shit, we gotta get it. And then, then we get this just amazing introduction to Max. So, I think we cut to a diner, and Goose, we get introduced to Goose, which is nice, like, oh yeah, so this is the way it is and all that, and then like it's like that's how it is, and like in the cafe's like, I'm needed now, so he goes out, walks out and stuff, and then we get this just fucking amazing sequence where he gets in and he drives like, oh, what's going on, like, they're fucking here, they get here, and then Max is there, it's like you calling, and then he's like, yeah, what is it, and all that stuff, and then he clicks the light on, has his glass on, he's like, yeah, it's Max, what is it? He's like, oh, you got a problem here? He's like, yeah, fine. So he gets, suits up, puts the boots on, gets a gun, fucking just this badass intro with this great music, dun dun dun, it's just this fucking badass music, and he's driving, and then we just get the fucking crazy, and yeah, and it's like, holy shit, like instantly this movie like just starts off with a fucking bang, and they're like, oh fuck, some serious shit's gonna go down, and for the 70s, pretty low budget 70s Australian independent movie, it's done really well. And then that happens, like, oh shit, and then you get this amazing shot of the eyes kind of popping out, like, oh, and then it fucking crashes into a truck, then explosion happens, and it's an amazing death, and it's like, oh shit, and the practical effect that they used was just fucking badass. Just a fucking badass scene. So we've that, and like, oh yeah, that's it, that's great, yeah, so that's happened. This is called the toe cutter. It's like, you're not gonna forget the name of the toe cutter, and all that. And I also love the intro music, like the George Miller thing, like, this is toe cutter, and it just comes Mad Max. It's like this metal kind of thing, and it's like this independent kind of thing. It's just this badass fucking intro, So I love that aspect of it. And I like, how we cut to Max as more of a family man. You get a show, don't tell how he cares about his family. So it's night time. He's there with his wife. His wife is kind of playing on this kind of like, trumpet. Is it trumpet or is it saxophone? Saxophone, yeah. Saxophone. And he's kind of just looking at her and just like, oh yeah, that feels nice, yeah. And what I love about it is they do feel like a real life couple, like, they feel like they love each other, like massaging, like, oh yeah, you like that, and they feels nice, yeah. So what are you doing? And then the baby's on the table, it's like, oh yeah, and you warm up to Max straight away, like cop at day, family man at night, love that. And then the next day, he's just it's a nice day out in Australia, he's looking at it, he's like, oh yeah, so gotta go to work, gotta go to Goose is there. I know you don't want me, but the Goose wants me in at a certain time. Oh yeah, I know. And then he's like, oh yeah, here's the coffee and stuff like that. And then he makes coffee, goes out. He's like, hey. She goes, crazy, oi, like, does this thing like crazy about you. He's like, you too. And then later on, there's even a scene when they're out on the holiday, and she's like, oi, he goes, oi, crazy about you. So it's nice use of foreshadowing, nice use of like scene, I guess. But I like that it's interesting because he's a cop in this one, where he's not a cop in the rest of them. And I like that this is a great origin story for Mad Max. For Max, just don't call him Mad Max, really. They don't refer to him as that in the movie. But yeah, there's just so many great moments, great character-driven moments, no pun intended. seen them do police work, going in like, oh, Goose, how you doing? Oh, yeah, it's great, yeah. Oh, it's nice, you know, and they're just talking in the police station, and then it's like, oh, we have this here, that's our guy, I think he's down here. Hey, Max, he's like, hi, what's going on? And they're talking, and they're just kind of going, I think they arrest someone and all that. And then you get these nice moments where you're like, okay, Max, like cars, they're going under like they're walking through this kind of uh, parking lot downstairs. Part like, oh, here's this nice car, and the car is basically so. I had to pause for a second. There's a football match on, so yeah. Anyway, so basically, Max fucking he get to see the car, the iconic Mad Max car that he has, you know, that we get shots of later when he's driving it. And he's like, oh, that's nice engine, yeah. He's like, do you want to take that for a spin? He's like, yeah. And they're driving around. It's awesome. So I love that. But then, like, the villains of the movie are great. They are sinister fucking villains. Every scene that they're in, you're like, holy shit. Why is this camera fucking lagging? That's not why. But anyway, you're like, fuck. So I love the scene where they're in the train station, like, oh yeah, this guy working there to come out, and they're like, yeah. And they're like, well, what are you doing, boys? And they're like, the coffin. Do you have it here? The coffin's like, no. And they're like walking, and it's like this kind of abandoned, shitty looking train station, and he's like, oh, don't forget the name of the toe cutter. He's like, okay. And they walk off, and the villains, they do a good job at making it them unlikable, so you want to see them get their comeuppance. Like, it's a great revenge movie in that way. So you're like, oh shit, these guys are not to be fucked with. So you get a lot more scenes at the police station, like, oh yeah, it's going around, yeah. Oh, we got that, yeah. And they're like, who's this tie cutter? And they're like, oh yeah. So there's a lot of scenes back and forth at the police station. There's the great scene where he's like, all right, I'm out of here. You know, that whole moment's like, Max, come on. No, you're not. No, I'm done. You've had this discussion before. Max, don't leave. Come on. Come in on Monday. You'll be back. And they walk away. He's like, no, I won't be. I don't want to be back here. And I'm like, I love that. I love that dramatic moment, because it's like showing that, no, if this is the business I'm in, I don't want my wife and kids being hurt. It's dangerous out there. Which this movie shows you how dangerous these cunts are, these criminals are. So they're like, yeah, here's a toe cutter. And then there's this amazing scene where everyone's in town like, oh yeah, cool and all that. And then like, they're all these motorcycle gang, they just come and they all park at the exact same time, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go cause havoc here. And they're just like, ah, and then they're like inside like, what's going on? Like, yeah. And then they're like, what's happening? Ah, you can't do that. And they're like, shut up. And they start like hitting and beating up people, like, no, and people are running away. I think I don't know, there's moments where people like have no clothes on, their asses are running on. I think there's a moment where they're running after someone who's like, they're grabbing, who's like, and they have their titties now and all that. And I think you get full boobs and bush in this film. And I'm trying to think, do you get a dick and ass? Anyway, but they're like that, and they're like, hey, yeah, let's get out of here. And there's this badass fucking car, like, earlier on, like, you had this couple, they're just there in the car making out, and it's like, ooh, titties and all that. And then eventually when they see them all coming, they're like, yeah, and they're like, fuck, let's get out of here. And then they drive, and then you get this fucking really intense scene. They're driving away, they're like, oh, thank God they got away. But then they're like, we gotta go get them and all that, and like, yeah, and then they start fucking driving on the fucking side. I was like, yeah, I think we lost him. And they're driving and and it's like, oh shit. And they're driving like, oh no, and the car stops, like, stop it. And they're like, and all that. And then they stop it, and they're like, and they get this amazing shot, and they're like, no. And they start smashing the fucking thing and hitting them, and there's great blood and practical effects, and they start hitting them like, no, and they take the woman, like, nah, and they start killing the guy. And I was like, oh shit. And then they're like, yeah, we head in. And then it kind of cuts to this like part where Goose and Max are talking, and it's this weird scene, because it's like it's a weird like little police car saying, oh yeah, so you get this, yeah. It's like, yeah, we're having problems with this thing, yeah. And I also like the police radio, like, oh yeah, we have this, like, right, we gotta check it out. So they go, They check it out, and then we fucking see, oh shit, there's a woman, there's a guy that's been all smashed and stuff like that. You know, and it's like, oh fuck, you know, this really dramatic kind of like fucking moment where it's like, oh, that's him. He's like, oh god, he said like, well, who did this and all that. It's like, girlie, it's okay. I think she's in hysteric. She's hysterical, mate. It's like, it's okay, girlie. I'm not gonna hurt you. She's like, and you feel so bad for this girl because she's been traumatized. And that seems like, dude, these villains, you just want to see these motherfuckers die because it's like, oh shit, this is bad. This is bad how people are like getting fucked up and stuff. So they're like, it's okay, girlie, it's okay. And she's like, no, she's in hysterics, mate. It's like, yeah. And then you got this crazy motherfucker who pops up a lot through the movie. And he's like, Tokara, you'll never get him. Tokara. It's like, shut up. It's like, no, Tokara. And I was like, what's his problem, mate? He's like, I don't know. He's like, Max is like, Tokara. And they bring him in. And he's like, Tokara's like, you stop it, you're my prisoner. That's my fucking prisoner. I don't think he says fuck, but he's like, that's my fucking prisoner. It's like, no, it's not. It is and all this. I was like, it's not. Tokara. It's like, you stop it, mate. I'll kill you, mate. He's like, no, stop it, Gacy, you gotta stop it. Well, I'll see you again, mate. And he gets out, and then there's like, there's like this moment at the back where he's like, I will get you, and all that. And they're like, yeah. It's like, I'd like to see you try. It's like, I'll come back here and get you. They try to kill him and all, hurt him, and it's like, oh shit. And then there's moments where they're walking around the police station, walking up the stairs, talking in like the police, like outside the police station, like, oh yeah, that's it, yeah. So all of that happens, and then we get this scene where a Goose is on like a bike, motorcycle, so he's driving, and like the fucking car is coming, like, he's like, oh shit, and eventually comes and I think the guy shoots at the thing, and then the fucking thing, like, Goose goes flying and stuff like that, and you're like, oh shit, he falls, like, oh shit, gets up, walks away. There's loads of other moments, like with the bad guys, like where they're at the beach, like, oh yeah, it's great, it's like, yeah, let's do it, we gotta get it. He's like, no, what do you think is great about it? Like, no, go into that water, you will do what you're told. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I will. And it's like this intense scene, like, we're gonna stop him, we are gonna get him, we're gonna kill it, yeah. And they're just crazy, and they're like, shit, please get your comeuppance, please. So you're like, oh fuck. So then, oh my fucking foot hurts, man, honestly. I don't know what I've done to it. Anyway, so that happens with that. And pretty much what ends up happening then is that you get this scene, this amazing chase scene with the Goose, and it's like, oh shit, I'm like, oh shit, and they're driving and all this shit, and then the car ends up, I was like, oh fucking, the car flips over, and you get this great zoom in camera, and then they're there like, oh shit, and it's leaking. They're like, oh, here it is, and they pour the gasoline. It's like, oh yeah, you ready to die and all that. It's like, no, let's do it. And then it's like, light it. It's like, no, I don't want to light it. He's like, I don't want to. You said you would light it. And he lights it, throws it on the Goose. It goes on fire, and then Goose dies, which is like, oh shit. So then they all hear it like, oh no, and then you get this really emotional scene with Max, and Mel Gibson fucking kills it. He fucking kills it in this scene. They were rushed to the hospital, like, what's going on? Goose, what's going on? No, next time come in there. He's like, burnt up. He's like, no, Goose did, no. That thing in there is not the Goose. And all that. And it's just this fucking heartbreaking scene. He's upset with his wife. That's what, no, not with his wife. He's upset. That's what makes him leave. And then you get into the really heartbreaking final act of the movie, or second third act, or whatever. And this is kind of where the film, you know, it starts to get really fucked up. Because what happens is they're like, oh yeah, we're driving around, we get a montage of them playing around and like being happy, like, yeah, and he's like pretending to be Tarzan, like, dripping in the water. He's like, come on Tarzan, let's go. And then there's this beautiful scene where he's just sitting there with his top off and his wife, you know, Jess, I never got to him like Jess, like my father. I never got to tell him how I feel. I don't want to wait my 10 years to tell you how I feel. Then they start kissing. It's like, yeah, that's great. So they're just talking, just being a normal family, you know. And as the movie goes on, you know, they're driving like around. It's like, oh, you out of town? It's like, yeah, we got to fix this car. It's like, oh, nice. So then they start doing fixing things as the mechanic talking. It's like, I'm gonna go get some ice cream. Is that okay? He's like, yeah. So he goes, he's kind of talked me into getting some ice cream. It's like, oh, great. So they drive off. You're talking more, and then you get a really, really, really fucked up scene. Like a really fucked up scene. You get this moment where they're driving. You got the like, hi, love it, like you there, and the gang are there like before that, and then driving like, oh yeah, and you see them kind of in the background like, oh yeah, you there? You want to go? He's like, no, it's fine. Leave me alone. It's like, come on, Lala, come here, and all that. I'm like, oh no, and then she drives, gets off like, oh, and drives, and then fucking hands end up coming off, and you're like, oh shit. So she drives like, we gotta go now. Any car? It's like, no, but we have any car, but you have a flat tire. They get in, drive. As they get home, like, no, and they look and they're like, ah, and you get the music, din, din, din. Fucking hands are cut off, and you're like, holy shit, what just happened? And it's like, just this amazing moment. So they're there trying to be calm, and there's a moment where they go inside, and the old lady's like, okay, we're gonna be okay. Calm down, get a nice cup of tea, yeah? And then you have this moment where Max is there, and you know the biker comes back and goes, where did he go? And she's like, he went that way to the mechanic. The mechanic's hiding, and they're driving like, where did he go and all that. And they're like, oh shit, this mechanic's a fucking asshole. I think they paid for him to do that as well. So it's like, oh shit. So you got that. So I love that aspect of it, and the final act is like really, oh shit, like serious shit goes down. Pretty much, you know, they're at the house, whatever. There's a moment where she's kind of walking through the woods, and then she's like really scared, and it's a really intense scene with music, almost like a horror movie. And then she runs into this guy who has learning difficulties. Like, oh, it's like, oh no, oh no, it's just him, very bad boy. And then like Max goes out with a shotgun, like, I'll go out, and I was like, whoa, and he's running, and like, you know, Mel Gibson sells the role of like him running and stuff, of like him caring. It's like, man, it's a bad boy. It's like, oh, they're over here. And then you get this moment where they end up kidnapping the fucking baby, which is like, oh shit, kill these guys, Max. You know, and they're like, if you don't stop it, we'll fucking kill him. We'll kill him. Like, no, don't, and all that. And they're like, please don't do it. It's like, we'll do it. And then the girl ends up going, and the granny goes, you step away. Get over there, step away. Calm down. And I believe she goes, shoots it. They run away. They're like, oh shit. Then we get into the part where they run off. They drive away. Max runs. And then you get the most heartbreaking scene in the entire fucking movie. This is where it becomes a revenge film, which is like a good like hour in before it actually does. But this moment here, fuck me, this moment is heavy. This is a heavy as fuck scene. Essentially, they're on the motorbikes, they're driving, like, what's happening? The car's off, they're stopping, they're like, no, and then they're driving and they're running away. She's running, like, run, keep going. She's running away with the fucking kid, and they're driving, and then they you know, you get the shot of the bike, and the thing goes up, and they speed, and then they end up fucking running over the mother and the kid, and little ball falls, and then you have Mel Gibson, oh yeah, I tried to stop him, Mel's there, and he's just there, picks up, he's like, nah, with the gun, and that's when you're like, kill these motherfuckers. And then the last 20 minutes to half an hour is when it turns into an action revenge thriller movie. This is where shit goes fucking down. So Max gets suit up in a badass scene, fucking music, gets the gun, fixes up the car, drives to get a shot of the car. He goes to the fucking mechanic. He's like, alright mate, you're not here for another week. He goes, puts the car down. Where is he? And I'm like, I don't know. Tell me where he is or I'll kill you and all that. And you get this intense scene between them, goes off, drives, then you get this amazing fucking scene where he's waiting and they're on the bridge and then like yeah, and then he's driving like and fucking and like oh shit, shoots them and fucking causes a few of them to fall off the bikes. One of them ends up breaking her neck. He ends up crashing. A few of them end up falling off the motorway bridge or the highway bridge. He runs over a couple. He ends up killing them anyway. Toe cutter and all this other crazy shit. And stuff ends up shooting them. Then you have that moment where he's waiting outside for that crazy guy that was going Tokata, and he's there and he's kind of looking like yeah, and the guy's there like doing something and he's attached himself to a fucking corpse. He's like, no, I didn't do this, mate. I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. He's like, what did you do? And all that. And he's like, so basically he fucking handcuffs him and he gets his testing like, no, mate, I didn't do anything. And Max just doesn't speak. Mel Gibson does some great like eye acting, like the serious fucking stern look, and I'm like, holy shit. And he's like, I didn't do anything, and he's just there like that, and then talking, oh, I'm a good guy, I'm just sick, mate, I'm just really sick. So then he just throws the thing and he's like, right, you've got 3 minutes to get out. Because what he does, he opens up the gas from the car, like the petrol or whatever, and then just lights it. It's like, no. So then he lights it or whatever, goes off, and then thing blows up when he drives away. Then you get that shot of him driving, this shot here. That's actually, it's weird for this to be the poster because like it's actually a shot in the movie, so he's driving and it's other shots like that. He's driving and then there's this scene here where he's shooting, it's like shoots the guy and he's like, oh shit, and they go and then the guy shoots Max and they're like, oh fuck. It's like, and they're about to run him over, like, he's about to try and grab the gun. They run over his leg, grab the gun, grabs it, shoots the fucker, like, shoots the other guy. Eventually kills them all. Movie ends with him, like, kind of driving. And it's a downbeat ending, but at least he got his revenge. So, that's the movie in a nutshell. What do I think it is? As I said, I fucking love this film. I thought those scenes were amazing. I think that the characters are great. I think the dialogue is really well written and the themes that are explored. I think it's beautifully shot film. They've done everything they could with a low budget. The use of practical effects and the explosions are great. Like there's even a moment near the end where someone's eyes pop and I believe he crashes into a truck and the truck explodes. Like, oh shit, comes in, ends up getting hit by a truck. The truck ends up hitting one of the bikers and thing blows up and stuff. And it's like, oh shit, and it's fucking badass. I love the opening in the movie, the big chase scene. It's a way to start it off. I like the more character-driven, slow moments, the drama. Love the dramatic music, dun dun dun. The music, George Miller's direction. The fact that it's just a different movie to the other ones as well is interesting, visually stunning. I'd say that this is either my second or third favourite Mad Max. It wouldn't be my favourite one, but this is a fucking classic. I also like when the guy's like, oh shit,